Happiness is right where we all are. Isn't that right? It's in the warmth of the sun and in the blaze of a star. Happiness is a sweet, 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 happy song. I'm gonna sing some happy songs for you. If you want to, you can clap along or just listen or sing along too. Here's where we're starting, right here, everybody. A good day, sunshine. Good day, sunshine. Good day, sunshine. A good day, sunshine. A good day, sunshine. I need to laugh, and when the sun is out, I got something gonna laugh about. I feel good in a special way. I'm in love and it's a sunny day. A good day, sunshine. A good day, sunshine. Good day, sunshine. How sweet it is to be loved by you. Talking to you. How sweet it is to be loved by you. One more time, here we go. How sweet it is to be loved by you. Here's the only verse I know. I close my eyes at night, wondering where would I be without you in my life. Everything that was just a bore. Everywhere I went, you know I've been there before. But you brighten up for me all of my days. With love so sweet in so many ways, I gotta stop and thank you, baby. I gotta stop, very good, and thank you, baby. Here we go. Ooh, I thought I fooled you, but I didn't. Ooh. Oh, do it again. Do it louder. I know you do, Don. Here we go. One more time and go. Ooh. Just like that. Ooh. Ooh. So I get to close with the last one, which is my tune. Here we go. Let the sun shine on you today. Feel that sunshine. Even when it rains, feel that sun inside. Let that sun shine. Let the sunshine shine on you today. Feel the sunshine. Even in the rain, you can feel the sun inside. Let that sunshine, 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 someone shine, sunshine, sunshine, sunshine. Ooh. Happiness is right where we all are. Good morning, New Dawn, and afternoon, and all the time.
Please join me in prayer. And today, as we continue to explore the playing with paradox, we recognize that there's only one life. That life is God. That life is perfect. And that life belongs to everyone within the sound of my voice. And as we prepare to talk about shaking up our worldview, taking a more spiritual view of all things, we know that God is perfect, whole, and complete in form and substance. All that God is, each and every soul in the sound of my voice, is by divine design and inheritance. We give thanks for the musicians, for our volunteers, our hospitality team, our practitioners. We give thanks for our Reverend Jenn, through whom Spirit will speak and deliver a message that everyone in the sound of her voice needs to hear. I know that everything unfolds perfectly, and whether we're worshiping here in this room, or someone is worshiping in a temple, a mosque, a cathedral, in a forest, or in their living room, that they are connected to this one perfect life which makes things out of itself and shows up in unique and beautiful individual expressions is in this room and everywhere in the world. I give thanks for all who are here in attendance. I give thanks for everyone in the community of Aurora, in the state of Colorado, all over the world. I give thanks for everyone who is here. I release these words in the divine law, knowing that they are already done in the divine mind. I let this go, I let it be. Together we affirm, and so it is. Our first words of inspiration come from Albert Einstein. Reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. From Zayed Masri, deep transformation is not just about doing a few minutes of meditative practice and then going about your day unconsciously. The real evolution of consciousness occurs when the very lens through which we see reality changes, and your whole purpose becomes about embodying an attitude of love and kindness with yourself and others throughout your day. From our founder, the Honorable Dr. Ernest Holmes, expectancy speeds progress. Therefore, live in a continual state of expectancy. No matter how good you are experiencing today, expect greater tomorrow. Expect to meet friends. Expect to meet new and wonderful experiences. Try this magic of expectancy, and you'll soon discover a dramatic side of your work which gives full vent to constructive feeling. It makes life a game that is a joy to play.
So here we are, the third week of October. Last Sunday, in my absence, Christine Monks, who is a ministerial student at our Institute for Leadership, spoke to those of you who were here, and her video is out there online. Brenna has made great strides, and it was absolutely amazing to see our videos again and all of that wonderful stuff. I encourage you to go watch it if you haven't seen it. She stepped up here in talking about getting comfortable with discomfort. And she allowed herself to be in an uncomfortable situation and speaking of her life, and allowed us to see the vulnerable side of her. And it was just so beautifully orchestrated, and And it just really touched my heart to be able to see that online at a later time frame. And it just brought so many things to mind for me. And so as we continue with this whole theme for the month of playing with paradox, today we're going to look at shaking up our worldview. Because there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. And some of us are not comfortable with it. And some of us are resistant to it. And sometimes we're very judgmental of it. And so we're going to talk about what that means to us as religious scientists and what we can do to open that up and expand and allow ourselves to just see things differently. We are being called to be curious and vulnerable. And we have been taught over the years that it's important to be right. We've been taught that it's important to be accurate. We've been taught the right way to say things, the right way to fold your napkin, the right way to look at another individual. And the challenge for all of us in all of this is that every single culture is different. So however you were brought up, however you were raised to believe, you were taught to look at it one way, thinking that that was the right way. And then we come together in a community of people from all different avenues of life in all different parts of the world and all different cultures, and nobody's doing it the same way I am, and now I'm thinking, well, they're all wrong. And that's where we've got to shift that thinking, and we've got to go to that place where we look at paradox and go, well, maybe we're all in the right space. Maybe we're all accurate. Maybe it's good for all of us to look at this. And so we've been gifted with the importance of the things we need to do. We've been gifted with the value that we believe that is perceived in us as to how we show up in the world. And sometimes that's kind of a catch. Sometimes that's kind of a trip you up little place, is how am I being seen? I have a very, very dear friend, and no matter what's going on, usually the first comments I hear from this person are, what will they think? What will people think? Oh my gosh, what will people think? Oh my gosh, they must think. And it's like, if we could just get away from that, because what if they do? Most of us aren't going to know it anyway. I have discovered that I can go out of my house. I can pretty much look like what I would call, my mother would have referred it to, the wreck of the Hesperus. I can just go out there charging off. I didn't think about anything. I didn't look in the mirror. I just went out, and I came back, and you know what I've discovered? Every time I do that, not a single solitary person has ever stopped me and said, holy God, lady, what are you doing? You look like you forgot to put it together. I mean, I'm clothed, so, that's a good thing. But think about that. How often do we go into that space and think, what are they thinking of me? What is everyone deciding about me? And let me tell you, you can't control that, so the best thing you can do is let it go. Because whatever they're thinking, they may just keep on thinking it. But they're not necessarily going to come up to you and tell you about it. That's the piece where I thought, that's kind of cool. Nobody ever said that. We want the world to see us as success. We want the world to see us as really good people. We want the world to see us as just being amazing. We post pictures of all of the positive aspects of our life on Facebook. And as soon as we say something that sounds like we don't quite have it together, that we're not really comfortable with what's going on, what happens? Well, social media isn't like seeing you face to face. Social media prompts us to go in, and now people are going to criticize us or offer some critiquing on what they think about what we're doing. And if that's your experience, you can find another way to be out in the world away from social media if you choose. So what we look at with this idea of paradox is it opens up the concept for us to stay open to multiple perspectives at the same time. This brain is incredible. It has such amazing capacity. And when I teach it that, oh my gosh, that's a different idea. I didn't think about it that way. What if that has some merit? What if that can mean something to me? As soon as I do that, my brain goes, okay, let's look at that. But if I shut it down and I push it away and I go, no, that's wrong, what does my brain do? My brain starts to help me find factual information to prove my story. And guess what the universe does? The universe says, oh, You're looking for a way to prove this point? Let's help you. And everything comes flooding at us that puts us and reinforces that perspective that we wanted to keep anyway. So if we look at living in the question more, allowing ourselves to just be in the question and not really thinking we have to have the answer, what we can find out is that there's a playfulness in the universe. There's a humor that comes forth, and we can have an opportunity to just be. And we don't have to need to be right, and we don't have to need to know what right is. So as we move through that, let's look at some insights that I have for today. I have a quote here from Dr. Ernest Holmes, who is the founder of religious science and our philosophy. And he says this: there is a place within us where thought springs spontaneously from the infinite. By inviting divine ideas to enter and express through our consciousness, we can permit the inspiration of the creative genius of the universe to impart new thoughts, to create new scenes, to enlarge our horizons. Now, I don't know about you, but every time I come in contact with someone who has a different idea or a different perspective, do you know what happens to me? I feel like my heart and my spirit have just expanded. They've just blown up. That there's been something that just transpired with me that has caused this expansive mindset for me to look at it differently, to look at it better, to look at it from an amazing perspective. And that's what I encourage all of you to do this week, is just to take a moment and look at that. Because if I took that idea and instead of rejecting it, I brought it forward and thought, well, maybe this too, then what happens to my world? I begin to flourish. I begin to be more successful, more energized, more positive. We have heard a lot of media stuff going on this week, and we have held, at least I think many of us have held, the people of Israel in our prayers, the Jewish community who is still persecuted in so many ways. And I found this little piece of information, in the Jewish tradition. In the Jewish tradition, they require at least 10 people attend a funeral or a minyan to fulfill their Jewish custom. 10 people in attendance for every person who is passed. And this past week, there was a family of a 24-year-old woman who was killed by the Hamas militants at a music festival. And the family went online because they were new to the area and they didn't know anybody. And they needed 10 people to show up for her service. And so they just asked if 10 people could just come, if 10 people could just attend, because we don't know many people and we want to fulfill the tradition, the custom. 10,000 people showed up. If we ask them, they will come. So what does that do to your worldview? What does that do to your belief system? Because I'm thinking, okay, they went out there, they posted on some kind of social media, and they asked people to come. How many people even saw it? How many people even read it? My brain goes into all the numbers. But 10,000 people had enough love in their hearts, enough commitment to their tradition to make the trek and show up. How incredibly amazing is that? And so as we look at this idea of not only our worldview, but as at Paradox, we can start to see that there's a whole lot more here that's working for us than is working against us. If you're only taking one avenue of information and allowing that to feed you, then you're only getting one perspective. And and I'm not going to say anything wrong with it, but if you're big on news and you like to watch the news, don't just watch one channel. Watch news feeds from multiple places to get the fuller picture or a better perspective. Let's look at that and let's see what we can do with that this week. We want to be wholly passionate and we want to be invested in solutions.
And we need to have a low attachment to the outcomes if we're trying to collaborate or if we're working together for those answers. Because if I come into a meeting and I already have what I think is the answer, and I'm telling you we're going to collaborate, I'm going to shut down every idea you have unless it matches mine. And we've seen this happen in corporate America for years. We've seen this happen in our government. We see it happen in a lot of the religious world. And we can move past it. There's more peace on earth today than we are paying attention to. And why is that? Because we're paying attention to everything that's telling us there isn't peace. It's time for us to change that worldview, individually and as community. Albert Einstein once said, at least we are told he did, "When I examine myself and methods of thought, I come to the conclusion that the gift of fantasy has meant more to me than my talent for abstract positive thinking." I love that. This week would be a great time in your playful mindset to fantasize about your life, to fantasize about how we can change the way we think, to fantasize about the belief system that we have, and lighten up. Oh my goodness, let's lighten up. When we get into this context of right and wrong and who did this and who did that and shame and blame, let's lighten up and go to that place of playfulness and just allow and take a look at it from a perspective of joyfulness. Maybe even childlike wonder if that's what's required. And I know how this works. I didn't just get here. You can tell by looking at me. I've been around a little bit. Because here's what happens. It's difficult to be neutral. I'm not telling you to be neutral. I'm telling you to be all-inclusive. Two different things. So just keep that in mind. But we want to remain open. We want to be curious. We want to resist the need or desire to judge, to take sides, to push back, to argue. I used to think it was really great to be a part of a good argument, and then I realized, no, I'd rather be part of a good discussion. I don't need to argue. An argument means I'm trying to get you to see it my way. Heaven forbid if everyone saw it my way. We would be in trouble. But here's what happens. You meet someone for the very first time. What is that? 3 minutes, 5 minutes into a conversation, and you think, ooh, I don't know where this person's coming from, and I'm not sure I agree with this. And then the next thing you know, you hear them elaborate a little bit more, and those little hairs on the back of your head go up, or your hackles, I think is what we used to call them, kind of rise up, and you're thinking, whoa, I need to get out of here, I need to get away from this. And after a few more minutes, you're thinking, why is this person still talking? Nobody's listening to them. Do they not know? Nobody's listening. Do they not know they're wrong? And we learn this with open eyes and open minds. Most of us learned it as children, very small children, that this is how we are supposed to take care of ourselves. I have to protect myself. Let me tell you this, you are protected. You are protected by the most powerful entity ever, and that is that power of God. So you don't have to run away, you don't have to hide, you don't have to be fearful, you don't have to make the other person shut up. We can allow ourselves to listen, we can allow ourselves to participate, and we can move through the process. I've been doing a lot of work this past week on the emotions again, and I'm discovering that they're all attached to each other, that you don't ever just experience or express one emotion. And almost every negative emotion, and there aren't any negative emotions, there are just emotions, but we're going to call it negative because we judge it. But almost all of those emotions that we seem to think are negative lead us to judgment. Anger. When I'm angry, I'm going to be disgruntled, and I'm not going to be willing and acceptable of what you have to say. Resentful. If I'm resentful, it's because someone has wronged me or harmed me at some point in time, or at least I perceive that they did. And I'm going to step right into judgment in my place of resentfulness. See where I'm going with this? So another place that we can kind of play with a little bit of this week is to look at our emotions. And when we're having an emotional reaction, look at what that is. And what is happening here in this moment? And when I respond with this emotion, how am I behaving and what am I saying? And is that who and how I want to be? Because that's where I'm learning to manage those emotions. Because when the one shows up that's going to be complaining and whining and carrying on and making someone wrong, that's not what I want to be, that's not who I want to be, and that's not how I want to show up. So we can look at that and we can really spend some time with that. I would imagine that this quote is what we would call an anonymous quote, because I couldn't find an author, but it says, "I wouldn't exactly call this house a mess. Rather, it's a testament to my ability to accept the playful, creative nature of children and the fact that they haven't learned the purpose of a cupboard." I love this, and this brought this whole playfulness to me just in an amazing way. Because when my firstborn son was born, and I had to return to work after being home with him for 6 weeks, I had a woman in the church where we went to church, where we worshiped, and she was a nanny. And she took care of a number of people's kids. And so I take my beautiful little 3-month-old baby boy over there, and he doesn't get regular food yet. He's, I'm taking care of him. We're doing all this stuff right. And I walk in Margaret's house. And to say it looked like a cyclone hit it would be an understatement. And there were kids everywhere. Now she didn't have that many kids, but it seemed like there were kids everywhere. And there was disarray, and there was graham cracker on the carpet, and there was this in the kitchen, and there was this and this and this. And I remember, and I was 20 years old. I was a kid. And I'm looking around thinking, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to my baby while I'm at work? And she comes up to me, and she smiles at me, and she said, "The house is fine." And I was kind of like, ooh, did I look like I was looking at her house? And she said, "But here's what you need to know. The kids are thriving." She said, "Because here's what I know. The most important thing I do is impress love on these children. They will learn manners as time goes by. They will eventually learn to clean up after themselves. They'll learn how to pick up things and how to share. Some of those lessons they'll learn here. But the most important thing they will learn here is that they are loved. They are accepted. They are beautiful. And they will be nourished." And that's all I needed to know. It was like, oh my gosh, it was incredible. And she was known for many years for having the happiest and most joyful kids because they came into her home. So what are you getting nitpicky about? Anything showing up for you in this moment as we're talking about this? Sometimes, we walk out of here and we think, I wonder if she was talking about that. Yeah, I probably am. But let's think about that this week, and let's take the time and let's take the moments to really process who we are, what we are, and how we're doing it, and look at those paradoxes in our life, and stop being so rigid and not ritualistic, and ruling over things and disciplined to the degree that it has to be this way and no other way. Let's take some time for that this week. Joan Chittister said, "Growth in an old age requires the curiosity of a 5-year-old and the confidence of a teenager. There is nothing we can't do if we want to do it." Now, it says in here, at the beginning of her quote, growth in old age. So I'm thinking that old age in this context is anybody over the age of a teenager, because we're talking about what we need to go back and grab. Curiosity of a 5-year-old and the determination, confidence of a teenager. Yeah, let's look at that. So this could apply to any and every one of us. So I found this little bit of information about the Buddhist religion, and I love this. Zen Buddhists use what they call our koans. Koans are nonsensical and paradoxical statements. They're riddles, they're questions, they're stories that open up students to the idea of the great doubt. Koans shed light on the limitations of logic, reasoning, and thinking. It is a meditation practice that opens us up to experiencing reality rather than trying to understand it. Oh my goodness. Every time we say, I don't understand why she did that, I don't understand why that happened, I don't understand, we are in our heads every time. And what this is encouraging us to do is to move into our hearts and go into that heart space and going, okay, wonder how that would work. That might feel different, that might look different, I wonder what that would be like. And that's what we're looking at here. Don Dianda, who is the author of See for Yourself, Zen Mindfulness for the Next Generation, explains it this way. The koan serves as a surgical tool to cut into and then break through the mind of the practitioner. Koans aren't just puzzles that your mind figures out suddenly and proclaims, oh my gosh, there it is, there's the answer. They're not just that. They wait for you to open up enough to allow the space necessary for them to enter into the depths of you, the inner regions beyond knowing. How beautiful is that? So instead of us shutting it down, instead of us turning our back on, instead of us walking away, refusing to answer the phone, whatever it is we're doing to stay away from these ideas that are kind of like teasing us to some degree, instead of that happening, let us go to that place of, okay, well, what if? What if that works? How can that be? What can I do with that? What does that mean to me? The koans include an example like this. 2 hands clap, and there is a sound. What is the sound of 1 hand? Without thinking of good or evil, show me your original face before your mother and father were born. These are some of the contexts that they use in this teaching. And this one. 2 monks are arguing about a flag. One says, the flag is moving. The other says, the wind is moving. A third walks by and says, it's not the wind, it's not the flag. The mind is moving. Koans are a great way to play with paradoxes. They open us up to curiosity and, again, vulnerability while exploring the edges of what we know and what is possible. So Thomas More says to us when we talk about the care of the soul, care of the soul means not taking sides when there is a conflict at a deep level. It may be necessary to stretch the heart wide enough to embrace contradiction and paradox. I hear over and over again, because of some of the people that I work with, that they're coming to me with issues at their work world, and they talk about their leadership, and they say things like, well, he's not going to do anything about it because he's very anti, he's not comfortable with conflict. He's not comfortable with conflict. I keep hearing this word about conflict. I'm thinking, okay, well, why are we calling it conflict? Why have we decided to label it like that? And why can't we look at what's a better way to get these people to work together? What's a more productive way for us to communicate? How can we do this better? And in that situation, no idea is a bad idea, because every idea, even the crazy ones, will get us to the answer that we're seeking, if we are truly seeking some type of unfolding, some type of new idea, some type of new way of doing things. And again, our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, tells us and reminds us, let the mind be open and receptive. Let us court the inner consciousness until its wooing draws from the higher field of realization and inspiration that is real. Conviction ever comes from this inner light. So just take a moment. How do you feel when you are angry, disgruntled, frustrated, disappointed, feeling betrayed. What is going on in your body when those things are going on in your emotions? Now take a deep breath and shake your hands out. How do you feel when you notice the beautiful sun in the sky? When you notice the blue and the depth of the sky? When you look at the leaves of a tree and you look up through the leaves of the tree and you see the sky beyond, and you begin to tell yourself that everything is right in your world. Everything is working out. I have a power within me, behind me, surrounding me that's going to ensure that that happens. How do you feel in that situation? And I'm here to tell you that as we walk this walk and as we do this work and as we continue to live these principles and we do the practices that support us, we will feel that positive side, if you want to call it that joyful side more and more and more. And what happens is we begin to fall in love with life. And if I'm loving life, nothing can get in my way. Nothing can stop me. I don't have to go back home and spend an hour trying to regroup and recover because I just had this horrific conversation. No. I'm sharing this joy, I'm sharing this love, I'm sharing this light with everyone I come in contact with. How beautiful is that? So it can be challenging. I'm not saying it's easy. I don't think any of you have ever heard me say it's easy. But it's not impossible, and it really isn't difficult. It's all about an adjustment of the mind, which is what Ernest Holmes has always taught us, is change your thinking, change your life. So it can be challenging to stay in that space of questioning because we're in a hurry. Somebody taught us that we can have everything instantaneously, and if somebody's taking too long to get there, we just need to move on without them. And so sometimes it's tough to be in that space because it's taking forever. Well, what about being in the space of allowing it to come forth and in rejoicing in every moment, because every moment of that space, I'm getting closer to what I need to get close to. It's coming to me. If you're attracting something in your world to you today, if that's something that's going on with you, you're closer every minute of every day. Don't discount that. Don't disregard that. That's an important part of who we are. Yeah, I'm excited. And when I get there, I'm going to be even more excited. But right now, I'm enjoying the journey. Let's do that. We have so many tools to support us with this. And now we have examples of other philosophies, other belief systems that can also support us. We can stay open at the top, allowing a new idea to come into our lives every single day. A new idea, a new perspective. And with this new idea and new perspective, I am doing things differently today than I did them yesterday. And once we adopt it, and once we embrace it, and once we actually make it ours and we own it, we can't go back. We don't even want to. We don't even want to consider going back to the old way of thinking. So this week, let's take time and let's look at how we can shake up our worldview. Let's look at how we can play with paradox and how we can allow this amazing, incredible mind of ours to embrace all ideas, all thoughts at the same time, and then embrace the ones that work the best for us and move forward in our lives with beauty, with grace, and with that power standing right beside us. Please join me in prayer. There is one God. It has many names and it exists in so many different perspectives, but there is one. And knowing that there is one, I know that this one is powerful beyond measure. It is everywhere present. It is here today. It was here yesterday. It will be here tomorrow. It is in of and through all things. And it lives within each and every one of us. It is a part of that very part of us that is us completely. This God, this power, this presence, this truth is ours, and it supports us in everything we do, everything we say, every thought we have, every action. Oh my gosh. How comforting it is to know that. And knowing that we are one with Source, that Source is alive and well within each of us, we know and recognize that all of us, all of humankind is connected. We are one. And so this week we look at all of our similarities. We look at all of those wonderful things that connect us and that align us with one to another, and all of those beautiful things that reinforce that very idea and that mindset that we can live. We can live in the paradox, and yes, we can live free from judgment, and yes, we can live free to be peaceful, loving, kind, compassionate beings to all people everywhere. What a beautiful reminder this is, and how incredible it is to know this, to feel this, and to have this energy within us. And so what we do right here and right now is we bless everyone in this room, everyone outside of this room, all people everywhere, the people who watch this video throughout the week. Everyone is blessed by God. And there is that Godness inside each and every one of them. And this week we take the time to seek it out, to connect. How beautiful this is. And I just give thanks for all of it, and thanks for the very opportunity to be here now and to speak these words and to know that the divine is always listening. It's good, it's perfect, it's blessed. I release it and let it go as we say together, and so it is.
Don't give up your dance, though some say you can't dance all you can, while you can. Don't give up your song, though the notes come out wrong. Sing all you can, while you can. Oh, life moves so fast. It's like sand in an hourglass, sifting away. But we have the moment right here and right now. It's ours right now, today. Don't give up your smile. Laugh like a child. Laugh all you can, while you can. While you can, while you can. Life moves so fast, it's like hands on an hourglass, like sand sifting away. But we are here in this moment, right here, right now. It's ours for today. Don't give up your dreams. Ooh. Now sometimes it seems you can't. Well, dream all you can, while you can. While you can, while you can, dancing and smile, dream all you can.
Hello. I'm Reverend Jenn Wilde, Senior Minister for New Dawn Center for Spiritual Living. New Dawn Center is a global community, and we welcome all people, all paths, all ways of thinking, all philosophies. So know that you are welcome here, and thank you for joining our online community.